Hi, it's Jo from Minerva. Today I'm going to do a little fitting tutorial on how to make sure you've got your darts in the right place. Sometimes it's tempting just to cut the pattern because that's where the dart says it is, but everybody's shape's different, so we need to make sure that we're getting that bust dart in the place that we need it for our body shape. It can be quite annoying to have to try and make a toile of every pattern to find the bust dart, so it's a good idea to try and find your measurement from here to where you generally need a bust dart. If moving the bust dart up or down doesn't solve your problem, then you may need to do a small bust adjustment or a full bust adjustment, which I'll show you in a different video. If you're getting that you've got quite a big space here in the armhole, then you might need to do a shoulder adjustment to take out anything there. It's quite tempting sometimes to put a dart in here, which you can do, but then you'll have to curve out all of the arm because you'll get a little funny kink in your armhole if you just pinch out a dart. If you pinch out a dart, then actually you've got to recurve the armhole back together. The best way I can show this is by showing you some items where my bust dart is in the wrong place. Then I'll go over to the cutting table and I will show you how to make an adjustment on your pattern piece. The first item I want to show you is an indigo tunic dress. So I wear this with leggings and it is absolutely one of my favourite fabrics from Art Gallery. It's made in a challis, but when I wear it I haven't got much room here. So I do wear it because I love it, but actually I would like it to be a better fit, and if I made another one I'd like the darts to be in a better place. Now it's quite a busy fabric, so it's difficult for me to show you where the darts are. I did try chalking them on, but I'm just going to show you with this bright yellow fabric tape. So the dart is there, so you can see it's sort of over the top of my bust, so it's pinching out some fabric here, and actually guess what, I need some fabric there for moving around. So I need to move my dart down because the end of it is here and it needs to be down here somewhere. So that's the first one that I'd like to change. In order to do this, I need to know what a dart is for. So a dart is to create a cup shape on your bust and not to have a dart coming over your bust. So I'm going to use this little bit of shiny tape to find the apex of my bust. So that's the widest point. So that's as wide as it gets. It's not necessarily where your nipples are, it is where the widest part of your bust is. So I need to create a cup shape around there, and at the moment my dart is ending up here, so I'm creating a sort of, I'm taking some fabric out up here, and I actually need that up there, and then I've got this really big waist, whereas my dart needs to be down here somewhere. So the first thing to find out when you want to change your bust dart is where the apex of your bust is, because that is really critical, because that is where you want your darts to go. Your dart should end about an inch away from the apex. If your dart then takes some material out at the apex, well, that's the place you need the most fabric, and if you're pinching some out, then you're going to have a top that's sort of pulling down or squashing your bust flat. So your dart should finish an inch away from the apex of your bust. Some patterns show the apex of your bust on the pattern piece, which is useful. So there's a circle with a cross through it, and sometimes it will say apex underneath, and that's their implication of where they're positioning their dart to. That doesn't necessarily mean it's where yours is, that's just their standard. We've worked all the measurements on this pattern around that apex. You can measure and compare yourself to patterns like that, so you can find your center line and you can measure between your center line and the apex. Get a tape measure, you can measure on the pattern piece from the center fold line to the apex and see if you're got a different measurement, so then you can move the apex to yours and then you know where to move the dart to. I'll show you how what I've just found out will translate onto the pattern piece. So this is the front pattern piece of the indigo dress, and this is where the original dart is, and that's what I put in my top. And it's assuming the apex is around here. It's not always marked on indie patterns, but in order for them to put this dart here, they're assuming that the apex is somewhere around here, which is way too high for me. I need mine to be somewhere around here. I can measure it accurately, but I'm just showing you the principles of it. So I need to move that dart so that the end of it is an inch away from the apex. So I'd like my dart to end somewhere like here. So there's two things I'm changing. I'm changing how long my dart is because it's coming up too far, and I'm changing where my dart goes. So I want to see how far to move my dart down. It's up here at the moment, and I want it to go down to my bust apex. So I'm going to find the top of the dart and measure to the bust apex, and it's just under 2 inches. So I'm going to draw a box around the dart so that I can move the whole dart where I want to. So at the moment it's pointing up here, and I would like it to point 1 3/4 inches down, so that this is where it was, and this is where I'd like it to be. So now I can sellotape that in place, put a piece of paper behind, and then I can do what's called a paper fit. So I can make the dart in paper and then try it up against my body. It's a bit tricky because it's a bit crinkly, but it's just enough to see if it's in the right place. So this dart is landing up here, and I want it to be nearer here. And I can use the dress that I've got, so it's got quite a high waistline, and I've got a seam allowance on my shoulder. So now my bust dart is pointing to here, and it was up here. So you can see that's where the apex was before, and now the apex is here. If the pattern that you're testing the darts on is something you'll make quite regularly, like I will probably make the indigo lots of different times because it's a very versatile pattern, then I might make a muslin of this just to check that I've got the dart in the right place. And then every time I get this pattern out, I know the darts will be in the right place, and I won't have them pointing up here and taking some of the ease out of my shoulders. You can tell if your bust adjustment that you're trying to make is common to all of your patterns or just to one particular pattern. So this is another one of my favourite tops. This is the I Am Juliet shirt. Really lovely, easy breezy summer skirt, nice boxy fit, buttons down the back. Nice introduction to shirt making skills. And actually this one doesn't feel like the indigo one because it's quite boxy. I've got plenty of room in it. But when I saw myself on the photographs, I noticed that the bust was again pointing up here. So if we go for the sparkly piece again, it's too high. It is, however, the right length. So if I brought it down, it would be 1 inch away from the apex. It's just too high up. So this is a pattern that also needs the bust dart moving down. This pattern is New Look 6483, and this has got great movement because it hasn't got sleeves. I'm not noticing that the bust darts are in the wrong place or anything. It feels quite comfortable. It's quite close fitting. The bust fit on it is quite pleasant, and I did a little narrow shoulder adjustment there and a sloping shoulder adjustment, so I haven't got any bagging here. But again, when I look at it, here's the dart and it ends up here, and my bust apex is down here. So again, I'm that same sort of between 1 3/4 and 2 inches away from where I need it to be. So I could move this dart down, and then I would get a little bit more fullness, because this one feels a little more snug, because it's above my bust. It's not right up here in my high bust area. It's a little bit low down, so it is just nipping out. It's a good length. It comes 1 inch away from the apex, but I could really improve the fit of this if I just move the dart a little bit. So you'll soon find out, the more clothes you make, you'll find out that patterns are a great template, but the more fitting skills you have, the more you can make them really fit your own body shape. Before I go, I'm just going to go over to the cutting table and show you how I adapt the I Am Juliet pattern, because that's what I'm going to make next in my sewing queue. Okay, I have cut out my I Am Juliet blouse. You can already see I've got more of a shape here lower down. So here's the apex, still with that shiny piece of paper, and bust dart is 1 inch away. I might be able to pinch out a little bit more there, but I'm not getting that thing that's cutting me over here, which I've had before, or here. I've allowed my 1.5 seam allowance and pin that to my shoulders, so I know I'm getting in the right place. So now I have the apex. My dart could come a little bit closer, but I've definitely got it now, taking in that fullness horizontally under my bust, not pulling in here. Of course, everybody's different, so you'll need to experiment, but that's the technique. You cut the square out and move it up or down. I do hope that's given you some advice on how to get a better fit when you have a bust dart in a garment. So do come back soon for more fitting and sewing tutorials soon. Thanks very much for watching. Bye bye.